people get involved in your campaign. They say, you know what, I love this woman, I love what she's doing, she's fighting for us.
And I expect all of you guys to get involved with conservative media.
Do you have faith in Janet Napolitano to keep you safe from harm? These people are speaking it out here. They're letting you know what's going on. This is John Villarreal reporting for Conservative New Media.
Okay, so we're here at Brad Goehring for Congress campaign headquarters in Stockton, California. Of course, I'm John Villarreal from Conservative New Media. And Conservative New Media peeps, what's going on? This is the man running for CD11 against Jerry McNerney, but right now you're in the middle of a primary and you just hired on Conservative New Media, and we're excited to be with you.
Good to have you on board, John.
Absolutely.
Although others have said you've been on board for quite some time.
I've heard that too. I'm telling you guys.
I think the others have created a natural fit.
They have created a natural fit. And you know what? I mean, and I've said this before, you know, I just loved what you were all about from day one. I heard about you from one of my best friend's brothers, and I read about your stuff, and I went to your campaign website, and I'm like, this guy is for real. And you got involved in this stuff. You said it many times because of what the EPA was doing to you and hurting your business. And we're here in the Central Valley, and I know a lot of people have their businesses hurt and they've lost their homes and they're really worried about it. Talk to us a little bit about why you're in this race, and then we'll get into where this race is at, and we'll get into compare and contrast.
Well, first of all, I'm a wine grape grower, so I'm a farmer.
Yeah.
And number one, agriculture is the biggest industry in our county. It's the biggest industry in the district. It's the biggest industry in the state.
I didn't know that.
So I represent agriculture and I represent water.
Why are you in this race, and what are your top 3 or 4 issues? In other words, I vote for you. I vote for Brad Goehring, and I put you in office here as our congressman, CD11. We beat McNerney. What are you going to do as a sitting congressperson? Like, what am I going to say, hey, this is what Brad Goehring stands for and this is what he's fighting for?
Well, first of all, let's talk a little bit about business.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a businessman.
I know that.
I started and developed my own business and a thriving, successful business. Today, President Obama's cabinet is currently made up of 9% of people that come from a business background.
Yeah, there's nobody.
That's the lowest presidential cabinet in the history of the last, I believe, 150 years since they've been recording those numbers. By contrast, President Reagan was nearly 60% people that came from business. Look at the direction we're heading now.
Right?
Look at what Ronald Reagan did and took what is a similar direction that we're in now, not quite as extensive, but look what he did, okay? I think that was business-minded people. So what we've got to do is have business-minded people back in Washington. For the last 3 years, I've been representing some national groups on private property rights issues, and I've seen firsthand how agriculture and business is not represented.
Yeah.
And so I think as a result, we're seeing what the economy is doing from a lack of business representation back there. I want to be the voice where people can come to and know that business and industry and agriculture is going to be represented through my voice. And we need to get more voices back there like that. So some of the things that I'm going to do is I can use my business experience in making budgets. Farmers get paid once a year.
Right.
Okay?
You got to make it last.
Do we know how to budget or what? Okay.
Right.
So
I grew up on a farm when I was a little kid.
right.
Yeah.
I think everybody's got ties to agriculture. We need to get business back represented, and I can do that.
Okay.
And in spring of 2008, I lost 80% of my crop in a couple hours one morning due to a killer frost that came through. Can you imagine if somebody knocked on your door tomorrow morning and said, John, tomorrow morning I'm announcing that you are losing 80% of your income for the next 12 months?
When the financial crisis happened, that pretty much happened. But I mean, yeah, I mean, it's, you know,
it's pretty scary.
It's scary.
And so what happened is my wife and I got out every piece of financial information that we had. And thank heavens we were conservative to have some savings accounts.
Exactly.
And those savings accounts were actually set aside for expanding our business. Okay? Good thing we had those. We tapped into those. We stopped and canceled all our expansion plans for our business. We told the kids they weren't getting any clothes unless they grew. We stopped entertaining. We stopped going out for dinner. And it was a very painful year. But we conserved our way out of the problem. The key word is conserved our way out of the problem.
Exactly.
This current administration thinks they can spend their way out of the problem.
Exactly.
Okay, and so that's one thing that I'd like to do is bring common business sense back to Washington.
So a citizen legislator that has been there, represents this district as, you know, being right in the heart of this district's #1 industry, and having the experience to, you know, run a business, meet a payroll, balance budgets both at home and in your business, and, you know, obviously being someone that's other people, and that's what you want to bring to Washington.
Right.
Now, are you in favor of lowering taxes?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's talk about
I'd like to talk about 2 rules my parents raised me by.
Yeah.
Number 1 is there's 2 documents that they always impressed on me that if I followed, you'd be successful.
Okay.
And the first document is the Constitution, and the next document is the Bible.
Yeah.
Okay. There's 2 principles that my dad taught me when I turned 18 and I cast my first votes. You know, of course, I respected my dad, and I went to him and, Dad, how do I vote? Where do we stand on this? And I knew a few of the issues where we stood on, but my dad told me 2 rules of thumb, and I'm not going to tell you how to vote on one single issue, but I'm going to tell you 2 rules of thumb. You take the ballot back and read everything yourself, and you can decide. But the first principle was never vote for anything that'll ever increase the size of government. His second rule was never vote for anything that'll increase taxes. So I think if you follow those 2 basic rules, it pretty much covers just about everything, and that's what I plan. That's what's been ingrained in me. That's not what I'm saying because I'm running. That's how I was born and raised, and I'm taking that back with me to Washington.
Okay. So obviously you're for smaller government, you're for lower taxes, you're for getting business working again, you're for common sense regulation instead of this crazy stuff the EPA is doing. I mean, all these things, and we'll go over a bunch. We've gone over a bunch of issues. We'll go over a bunch of issues in the future. People in this environment, they've lost their jobs, especially in this district. They've lost their homes. I mean, it's just been economic Armageddon, as you talked about. And they're looking at this government and they're saying it's so big and it's so out of control. And people some people at least don't seem like they care about the Constitution anymore. Maybe they don't care about the average person anymore. It's crony capitalism where some people are favored over other people. And a lot of people out there, and this is the rise of maybe some of the Ron Paul stuff, a rise of some of the Tea Party stuff, where they just feel like Washington doesn't get it, that Washington's broken, that the representatives on either side don't care about them anymore. How do people know they can trust Brad Goehring?
Well, that's a good question, John. I've been beat up by our government in my business. I would question to see how much any of the other candidates have been beat up by our government. I've been a victim of our government gone wrong. I've been a victim of the abuse of the Constitution and the interpretation, the misinterpretation by lawyers for their pet projects. And so don't think that I'm not fighting mad to get that corrected, because I almost got separated from my family. Wow. I almost lost everything I owned due to an overextended, abusive government. And I want to correct those things. I can't wait to be the boss of the regulatory agencies, because they're not going to like me.
I already like you. No, I think that's perfect. So let's talk.
No, and the other thing too is in my own business, we evaluate things periodically as time progresses. Why did we go down this certain path? Or do we still need to be going down this certain path? Why did we create this certain division of our company? And so we need to reevaluate government like that too. We need to reevaluate the government, the departments, the agencies. Why was this department started, and has it achieved its mission? There's so many departments and agencies that have been created that have evolved and morphed into something else than what their complete original intent were. And so, number one, if it hasn't been constitutionally authorized or mandated, we need to get rid of those departments. Okay, and the other things is if we've strayed from the mission, sometimes we just need to discontinue a department or whatever. But the other thing is we need to do is we need to get salaries of all federal employees back to competitive industry wages, because retirements are getting younger, pensions are getting bigger, and it's a cost on government, and I can't run my business like that way.
No way.
And so why should government be doing that?
Yeah, I've been saying this forever. You can't pay people to not work.
Right.
It's just that simple.
Right.
I love it. Well, I'm excited about it, and we're going to be doing lots more videos for you and covering this wall to wall. Tell people right now again how they get involved. They say, you know what, I love this guy. This guy's cool. I want to help out the campaign. I want to, donate my money, my time, volunteer, whatever. How do they learn about you and how do they get involved?
Well, 2 ways. You can get involved with us at GoehringForCongress.com. There you go, GOEHRING forcongress.com. The other thing is you can do is you could give us a phone call, 451-4271, and we'd be glad to talk with you. We need all the support we can in turning this country around, and you, the patriots out there, can help us do that.
Great. Thank you so much, Brad. We really appreciate it.
Thanks.
I am John, that is Brad, and this is Conservative New Media.